Creative real estate investors are always going to find a way to operate, right? And operate legally and morally, right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's what's most important. Being a person of your word, right? Being a person of integrity, following the law, and then treating people the way that you want to be treated. Let's speak to the brand new investor, brand new wholesaler that's either just discovered what wholesaling is and they want to learn more, or they've already, jumped in there, they've decided they want to commit to it, right? But they haven't really figured out where to go. What is the best piece of advice that you could give somebody brand new in this industry?
I'd first say there's a bunch of information out there on YouTube and Google. Learn the very basics. I say go to YouTube University. I mean, always have a YouTube video on it. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I know at least one person. He came out of prison, and that's how he learned it. Okay. But also, you have to have tenacity. You have to have perseverance. If you don't have that, well, all the education in the world's not going to help you.
Yeah.
So just have faith that it works. Okay. And then once you start getting into, even wholesaling is pretty much the same area, except for Maryland. Maryland's a terrible state to invest in. But wholesaling is pretty much the same everywhere. So maybe wholesale a deal or two. Now, if you want to start learning the specifics of where you are, learn from a local person or a local RIA.
Yeah.
Okay? Midlands RIA, to be an actual member, is not free. That's why I always tell people, some people say, I want to sign up for Midlands RIA. And where do I pay annual dues? I say, look, there are free RIAs out there. Okay, go to them first. You might be able to learn for free. Why? I mean, it's not, the membership isn't much, but you know what? It's maybe a couple pizzas, okay?
Yeah.
So why not save the money? If you can save it and learn it for free elsewhere, and ultimately, if you decide you want to join Midlands, we'd love to have you. We're not trying to chase you off. I just want you to get your money's worth.
Absolutely.
So, that's kind of my philosophy.
Let's talk about the regulations, right? South Carolina's tried cracking down. NAR, right, has introduced this new quote-unquote law, if you will, in their code, trying to illegalize wholesale.
Okay, in my experience, real estate law, and again, this is personal experience, real estate law in South Carolina is not enforced well at all. Okay, I think people are putting a lot of, the people who really have anything to fear are the people with licenses, in my opinion. Okay, because you could be potentially jeopardizing that. But even then, in my experience, even then, they're not in trouble, really. Okay, I can cite, and I won't give names. I'll tell you off camera who it is, okay? I can cite several real estate agents who have been brought up on orders, and LLR, the Labor Licensing and Regulation Entity, okay? They basically said, yes, you are guilty. Actually, the Real Estate Commission said, yes, you are guilty. Yes, we're suspending your license, but we are suspending our suspension of your license. Basically, go on and keep doing what you're doing. Okay, I won't mention the name here. And as you know, when you do a search on a realtor, you get Google reviews, and this realtor has 5-star reviews on Google, and no one ever thinks to look under LLR for the orders.
Yeah.
Okay, so real estate law, they really have to, in my opinion, I wish they'd do a better job enforcing it if they really want to go that route.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about the wholesaling thing that the Real Estate Commission came out with back in February. Okay, they're saying basically, as you know, the whole basis of wholesaling is you put a property under contract and it gives you equitable interest to be able to market that before you actually close on it.
Correct.
Okay, that's the issue. Is the Real Estate Commission has decided that equitable interest is not owner's interest, and they say you need owner's interest to market a property without having any ownership, or I should say, before closing on it. Okay, so, and they say they can issue cease and desist letters. Well, a few things hit me is it's not a law yet. Okay, so I until it becomes a law, in my opinion, and again, just my opinion, I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
All right. Now, they say they can issue cease and desist letters. Okay. Basically, they threaten a $10,000 fine, if I recall.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never gotten one myself, but I know a guy down in Aiken. He's gotten several of them. He just crumples them and throws them away. Okay. So there's not a whole lot of teeth to those either. Okay. I hate to say it.
Yeah. No,
So
you're right.
That's how the law works in South Carolina. I shouldn't say that's not, the law is there, but for whatever reason, the powers that be don't seem to want to enforce it. You know, so that I don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's
anyway,
interesting.
if it becomes a law and starts to become an issue, then I guess we just have to cross that bridge then.
Yeah.
So now to help offset that, in our members area on our website, we have a list of cash buyers with phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so which by the way, I need to add you actually. So,
Absolutely.
So if it does become a law and if they start enforcing it, something like that, if you don't have your own buyers list, I just say, guys, log in, start going down the list and start making calls. Okay, so anyway,
Yeah.
that's
It's
one way to
interesting
offset it.
stuff. The next few years, we're going to have to navigate and, we've seen similar things popping up in different states, right? For us doing a virtual model, it's good to be aware of, the buzz and what's happening in different areas, different locations, but creative real estate investors are always going to find a way to operate, right? And operate legally and morally, right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's what's most important. Being a person of your word, right? Being a person of integrity, following the law, and then treating people the way that you want to be treated.
Is because, and the thing is this, okay, even with conventional real estate, you can have scumbags ripping people off, okay? But it's especially with creative real estate, it can be especially prevalent, okay, because people don't know how to treat it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is the scumbags that give the ethical people like us a bad name.
Right.
That's the problem.
It is. It is. A lot of different ways that you can navigate through a transaction. I was talking with one of my buddies. He's like, man, whenever purchasing a house, if it really came down to it, purchase the house under a land contract, pay the seller $500, $1,000 down payment. Technically, you own the property. The deed might not be recorded, right? But per the land contract, you have legal ownership of that property. Turn around and sell it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because actually, if you go to the tax assessors in Richland, Lexington, Aiken County, or wherever, okay, even just a land contract, if you don't have the deed and you're living in the home, they will still, now they have to look at the contract first to make sure it mentions rent, doesn't mention rent anywhere or tenant or anything like that. You can actually get owner-occupied tax status even though you don't have the deed if it's on a land contract.
Really?
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in fact, I'm trying to think of who told me that. I think Carlos Barrera, you know Carlos,
Yeah.
okay? He does that quite often. So I think he's the one who told me about that. And I verified. I called the Lexington County tax assessor, and he basically said, yeah, we have to look at the contract and make sure it doesn't mention things like rent or anything that implies a tenancy. And we will give owner-occupied tax status, but they have to do it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.